I've just been emailed some information from one of our national papers. It was published in the Star newspaper on the 25th of May this year. And what it says, Anaheim, California, scientists are excited about a vitamin again. If it bears out, it will challenge one of medicine's most fundamental beliefs that people need to coat themselves with sunscreen whenever they're in the sun. Doing that may contribute to more cancer death than it prevents, some researchers think. The vitamin is D, nicknamed the sunshine vitamin, because the skin makes it from ultraviolet rays. Because sunscreen blocks vitamin D's production, some scientists are questioning the advice to always use it. The reason is that vitamin D increasingly seems important for preventing and even treating many types of cancer. In the last 3 months alone, 4 separate studies found it helped protect against lymphoma and cancers of the prostate, lung, colon, and ironically the skin. The thinking is this: even if too much sun leads to skin cancer, which is really deadly, too little sun may be worse. No one is suggesting that people fry on the beach, but many scientists believe safe sun, 15 minutes a few times a week without sunscreen, is healthy. One is Dr. Edward Giovannucci, a Harvard University professor of medicine and nutrition, who laid out his case in a recent lecture at a cancer research meeting. I would challenge anyone to find an area or a nutrient or any factor that has such consistent anti-cancer benefits as vitamin D. Dr. Giovannucci said. The talk so impressed the American Cancer Society's chief epidemiologist, Dr. Michael Thun, that the society is reviewing its sun protection guidelines. There is now intriguing evidence that vitamin D may have a role in the prevention as well as treatment of certain cancers. The dilemma, he said, is a lack of consensus on how much vitamin D is needed or the best way to get it, adding he'd prefer people to get more of the nutrient from food than from pills. Taking vitamin D in supplement form is not the way to go. Government advisors can't even agree on the recommended daily allowance for vitamin D. Too much of the pill variety can cause a dangerous buildup of calcium in the body. On the other hand, it's almost impossible to overdose when getting vitamin D from sunshine. However, it is possible to get skin cancer, and this is where the dermatology establishment and Dr. Michael Holick part company. Until last year, he was chief of endocrinology, nutrition and diabetes, and professor of dermatology. Until last year, he was chief of endocrinology, nutrition and diabetes, and a professor of dermatology at Boston University. He then published a book, The UV Advantage, urging people to get enough sunlight to make vitamin D. Skin cancer is rarely fatal, he notes. The most deadly form, melanoma, accounts for 7,770 of the expected 500,000 US cancer deaths a year. In response, Holick's head of department called his book an embarrassment and stripped him of his dermatology professorship. Unfortunately, that's the kind of thing that happens. It just goes to show you that not even the scientists can agree on it. What I do want to brag about a little bit is that our new book that has just come out on the 1st of May, actually published on, and obviously written previously to that, which we wrote over the last 2 years, actually covers this in quite a bit of detail. In the chapter on sunlight, the power of sunlight, we go on to how sunlight actually helps you manage stress efficiently and how it boosts the immune system. And there's a lot of new up-to-date research in here. And I actually say on page 184, insufficient exposure to ultraviolet radiation may be an important risk factor for cancer in Western Europe and North America, according to a new published study in the prominent Cancer Journal. These findings contradict official advice about exposure to sunlight. An examination of 506 regions found a close inverse correlation between cancer mortality and levels of exposure to ultraviolet B sunlight. In other words, people that were exposed to natural sunlight had a lot less cancer than those that weren't. They found that sunlight actually protects against breast cancer, colon cancer, and ovarian cancer. It also suppresses tumors of the bladder, the uterus, the esophagus, the rectum, and the stomach. You don't need to put your stomach and your rectum and your esophagus in the sun, obviously. It just means being in the sun, exposing yourself to sunlight so that your body can manufacture vitamin D. And this is where healthy nutrition comes into it. If you're not getting the right fats into your diet, if you're not taking in enough of the omega-3s and the omega-6s in their natural form from your avocados, your nuts, your oils, your flax oil, your dark green leafy vegetables like the barley leaf, you're not going to be able to have the tool or the vehicle which transports cholesterol, which the liver makes, to the cells where in the skin it's converted. When sun shines on your skin, cholesterol is converted into vitamin D. But cholesterol can only be converted into vitamin D to protect you against cancer if you're getting the right fats in your diet. And this ties up with other research that shows us clearly that getting the right fats, those natural omega-3s and omega-6 in plant form, actually has a protective effect against the body, against all kinds of cancer. So, if you want to read more about the effects of diet and how it protects you against skin cancer, you can read that in the new book, Take Control. And just a quick brief review. This is the 6th book that I've been involved in. I've written it together with my husband, Mark. There's a financial section added by Sylvia Walker. And the chapters in here are actually, I think, quite inspirational. Reading this again after having written it, I found it very inspiring to read, even though we've written it. It's got 4 sections. The one is building your foundation, and that's divided into 4 chapters, where we talk about the 3 legs on which we base our lives, on which everything that the way we cope with stress, the way we cope with life, and the curveballs that life does throw you, the fact that people die, divorces happen, people involved in car accidents, you may lose all the money you've ever owned, and that's basically what happened with Mark and I. And we share the story of how we lost everything we'd ever owned, and on what foundation we rebuilt our lives, and what we learned in the process about our finances, our spiritual well-being, our diet, our exercise, and how it influenced the way we manage stress. And we feel that if you implement these principles into your life, you will find it a lot easier to handle stress, a lot easier just to handle life, because life is tough. The only thing you know about life is that change will happen, and things happen. Bad things happen, good things happen, and we need to know how to manage that process, how to manage the process, how to take control of our lives and not feel as if we're spiraling out of control. So there's 4 chapters in building your foundation. Then part 2 is balancing your life, and there we have another 7 chapters. We're talking about emotional balance, successful relationships, your mind and your food, your mind and your lifestyle, financial fitness. We talk about stress, breaking the cycle, stress adding to the load. Part 3 is balancing your environment, where we talk about environmental issues, and one of those is sunlight and how that affects your ability to manage stress and take control of your life. There's a very strong chapter on sleep specifically. There are 3 chapters there, but the chapter on sleep, a lot of people have spoken about it and said it's really helped them with their sleep issues. And then part 4 is directing your life, which is, you will find, I'm sure, very inspiring. It's the importance of having a vision and a purpose in your life. And then some wonderful inspirational stories from people who've been on the natural way and how it's changed their marriage and their relationships. I can only encourage you to order a copy or to get a copy if you don't have one. For those of you that are the DVD Club members, of course you get it at a special price. And you need to just contact Peter Owen on 021 in South Africa, 881-3624, and he can get you a copy. That's it from me, from my desk. I'll see you next time. Some exciting news. Mark and I will be over in the United States in a couple of weeks, and in the United Kingdom, and we'll be interviewing quite a few natural weighers who are living in those countries, and we'll be finding out how they're doing. We'll be doing a cookery demonstration, definitely one in the United States and possibly one in the United Kingdom, so we can take a look at the foods that are available there, possibly look at some of the things in the supermarkets. We'll tell you how we manage with flying, what we eat, what we take, because we actually find we very often eat better when we're traveling than we do when we're at home, because we know how to cheat at home, whereas when we're traveling we're a lot more careful about the way we eat. And a lot of people battle with traveling, and yet it's actually a very easy thing to do. So we'll be looking at that as well. And if any new research should pop into my box while I'm over there, or pick it up in the New York Times or the Los Angeles Times, I'll share that information with you.